Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Perfect World based on novel. So let's hand over your life. Immortal Palace's inheritor shouted loudly. The great halberd in his hands brandished about, slicing open the void as he slaughtered his way over. Shahao also raised his halberd to greet him, taking this attack head-on. They collided together, the sound released a splitting, ringing through this place. Large black cracks extended in all directions. Stop, please listen to me. The divine striking stone shouted. He turned into a streak of light, and flew towards the horizon. Everyone's attentions were caught by it, and not even Immortal Palace inheritor was an exception. There was endless killing intent on his face, his eyes cold like blades as he glared at it. You also opened up a martial Dao heavenly eye. The divine striking stone gave Immortal Palace's inheritor a look, and then cried out strangely, no wonder. You had so many stone cores. Thanks a bunch, by the way. It was because we plundered your secret nest that Huang was able to quickly open up his heavenly eye. It really was a great help. Nearby, the heads of all the cultivators wanted to split open. Quite a few people knew what stone cores were. There was actually this type of great natural luck that appeared. In that instant, Immortal Palace's head of hair flew upwards, battle intent surging. He saw the mysterious symbols in Shahao's pupils. That was a sign of the martial Dao heavenly eye opening. There were some who opened it between their brows, others who opened it within their two eyes, each different. However, their characteristics were the same, all of them condensed from symbols, glistening and resplendent. You've succeeded in angering me. Symbol light erupted from his entire body, killing intent flourishing even greater. Forget it. You should forget about mentioning how he ran away like a startled pigeon, leaving behind that wonderful stone for us. Shahao said, waving his hand to have the divine striking stone back off. Immortal Palace's inheritor was going mad. His head of hair completely stood up, his battle intent risen to its peak, kill. In that instant, he turned into a 9-headed bird, revealing 9 heads, all of them releasing dark light. Black feathers covered heaven and earth as they spread outwards. This type of aura was incomparably brutal, filled with a wave of heaven overflowing killing intent. Shahao released a roar, and then he immediately produced 3 heads and 6 arms, using the Zhuang race's great divine ability to face him. This was a great collision. Both sides took action with full power, as if 2 unmatched gods and devils were competing, shaking the mountains all around them. The mountain forest immediately exploded. Fortunately, they were fighting in the sky, or else this battle would result in even more terrifying destruction. 9-headed undying body. Immortal Palace inheritor said softly. His entire body flourished with dark light, immediately surging with sky-covering symbols. The 9 heads chanted sutras to support himself, splitting into 9 great demonic deities. Shahao's expression didn't change. He released a short shout. Lightning moves the 9 heavens. In that instant, clouds gathered from all sides, connecting the heavens and moving the earth. He was gathering all lightning between heaven and earth, guiding the great lightning tribulation. Lightning poured over like a sea, attacking indiscriminately. The 9 great demonic deities couldn't escape, all of them surrounded within. Only the original body could borrow the great halberd to cut apart the void and escape. As a result, the 9 great divine devils scattered. Weng. 9 erased, but not dead, reappear. Immortal Palace's inheritor shouted loudly. The scattered demonic deities unexpectedly appeared again, recombining. Wu, don't tell me that your original body is an undying 9-headed bird. Shahao was shocked. With a shua sound, he rushed forward, his palms and fingers like jade, condensing a strange symbol. Heaven calamity light erupted boundlessly, rushing forward, all of them attacking that body. At the same time, Shahal used his magical immunity, divine ability, before slaughtering his way towards Immortal Palace's inheritor. In that instant, the 9 great undying bodies disappeared again, because they were formed from symbols, scattering under Shahal's abilities. The two collided, fists clashing. Their palms made contact in a frontal clash. Immortal Palace's inheritor coughed out a mouthful of blood, retreating outwards. This was not only a collision of the flesh. The other party was immune to his symbols, but the heaven calamity light was still effective. Immortal Palace inheritor suffered greatly in this clash. All of the spectators' expressions changed. The matchless Immortal Palace inheritor, who had merged his 2 bodies, unexpectedly coughed out blood. Just how powerful was Huang? Shahal was shocked as well. After merging together with his second body, this true body was indeed quite strong. If not for the tremendous harvest he obtained from the 3,000 bluestone paths, he would have already reached his limit, and would likely have trouble. It was clear that both of them only lacked immortal energy. Right now, they already reached the absolute peak, multi-arm human immortal. Immortal Palace's inheritor moved quickly. When Shahal's strange ability ended, he rushed forward to attack. Not only did he have 9 heads, he had many more arms now too. These arms were all forming imprints, producing the human immortal imprint, a restricted precious technique of the present world, one of Immortal Palace's sect-protecting arts. He was clearly truly angered, wishing to kill Shahal in the shortest amount of time possible. This was incomparably terrifying, as if it could suppress everything in the world. Shahal's body moved. The 3 heads and 6 arms enlarged, and the Kuan Peng wings appeared. This time, 3 pairs of enormous wings appeared, and they slammed over murderously together. Meanwhile, his 6 arms shone as well, their palms surging with symbols, forming the heaven's hand. This precious technique was still damaged at the moment, but with the passage of time, it would gradually produce a mysterious method. However, it was still a bit blurry. This time, Shahal also used the lightning technique with it. He overlaid 2 types of precious techniques, attacking with full force. The collision this time was incomparably ferocious. Kuan Peng wings split apart the skies, the human immortal imprint suppressing everything in this world. Lightning overflowed, the 9-headed undying bird roared. This place erupted, symbols covering the sky. The 2 of them flew outwards, blood flowing from their mouths and noses. In the distance, it was dead silent. No one dared say anything. These 2 people were too strong. Qingyi revealed a hint of worry. No one understood how extraordinary Shahal was than her, yet in the end, he couldn't suppress Immortal Palace's inheritor. The effects of merging both bodies together was heaven-defying after all. She believed that if it was someone else in Shahal's place, they would have definitely died just now, their body and soul erased. As for the outside world, the cultivators of the outside world didn't think this way. They believed that after Immortal Palace's main and second body merged together, it should be powerful enough to sweep through all heroes of this world, never expecting that he still had an enemy capable of contending against him. Huang could still stop him. Immortal Palace's inheritor already calmed down, his mind recovering from the divine striking stone's stimulation. He believed himself to be unmatched in this world, never expecting Huang to be this powerful, still unable to kill him after merging both bodies. His eyes were like those of a falcon's, sharp like cold electricity. Symbols flickered. He became incomparably calm, searching for Shahal's weaknesses to decide things in one blow. On the other side, this was the case for Shahal as well, searching for the other party's weakness. The Kuan Peng wings on his back covered the heavens, becoming incomparably large. Kill. The 2 of them shouted, rushing at each other again. On Immortal Palace inheritor's back, scarlet multicolored light emerged. A true phoenix's wings appeared, its brilliant feathers like immortal swords. King Cheong sounds rang through the skies. This was a great divine ability. Even though it wasn't the complete true Phoenix Precious technique, it was one of the most powerful loose moves. In addition, his hands were forming imprints, displaying the immortal King Nine seals, creating a cage in the void to suppress Shahao. Brilliant lights covered the sky, endless natural laws appeared. Ancient trees appeared everywhere in the void, continuous and uninterrupted. All of them were created from lightning. Meanwhile, Shahao also displayed the Kuan Peng technique, power surging from the lightning sea, with both Kuan and Peng. This type of transformations were incomparably shocking. This was a merging of precious techniques. Both sides were greatly shaken, intensely trading attacks. In the end, they both retreated outwards. From a certain standpoint, they already represented the extreme peak, both of them just lacking the final step. Right now, it was difficult to determine who was above the other, even though it is a battle of the peak of the same level, both lacking the final step. There is still greater, or weaker potential. Hand over your life. Immortal Palace's inheritor shouted. At this moment, his body began to burn, every inch of his flesh releasing radiance. This was a sign of him opening all of his body's potential, about to carry out the final decisive blow. He was extremely confident, because his main and second body split up to cultivate, both of them accumulating, opening up the body's treasury. He already accumulated endless mysterious potential. Shahao remained fearless. He also released everything he had. Divine might erupted endlessly, terrifying to the extreme. Every inch of his body was shining, his entire body like a great furnace. Suddenly, Shahao felt as if his entire body was a bit strange. His flesh released a strange light. The sound of a roaring tsunami erupted. He was shocked. This type of feeling was extremely wonderful, giving him a sense of déjà vu. Suddenly, he remembered that after passing the heavenly tribulation, and entering a state of sleep, it was precisely this feeling. Is this supreme being blood? He looked at the wisps and strands of shining blood hidden in various areas that released resplendent radiance to link up his entire body. At the same time, he witnessed the complete symbols of heaven's hand. In that instant, his comprehension of it became extremely deep, as expected. His mind was greatly shaken up. He immediately felt like his body's inner treasury seemed to be opening up. So it turned out to be like this. The strange supreme being blood appeared again, only, it covered every area, extremely fine, yet still truly existing. Only now did he truly open up his potential, the supreme being blood revived. It now reappeared. It's pointless even if I tell you, however, even though I haven't condensed a strand of immortal energy, wisps of immortal mists have appeared. Just hand over your life. Immortal Palace Inheritor roared while swooping downwards. If he wanted these wisps of mist to appear, he had to ignite all of his potential. The consumption was tremendous. Shahao was still calm. He now had the power of the supreme being blood after it revived. He released a long roar. This time, heaven's hand truly appeared, and it also condensed with the reincarnation symbols, becoming flawless, immortal Tao mist wisps. The one that will be killed is you. Shahao said coldly. Blood energy instantly erupted like an ocean. He was like a reborn giant that had existed since the opening of the world, towering in the world of mortals. He could strike the ninth heaven, suppress the ninth layer of the underworld, absolutely unrivaled. In reality, his figure didn't increase, but it still gave others this type of feeling, as if he could suppress everything in this world. The supreme being blood in his body roared, surging like a sea. It released a great rumbling sound, surging between his limbs and white bones. Heaven's hand and reincarnation symbols combined together, their power increased who knew how many times. Shahao took a large step forward and released a palm. Heaven and earth trembled. Immortal Palace Inheritor's precious techniques were scattered, blasted through. In addition, the immortal Tao wisps also dissipated, disappearing into the void. Immortal Palace's inheritor flew outwards, blood spraying out from his mouth, unknown how many of his bones were broken. How could this be? I cultivated with 2 bodies. I have endless potential. Why is it like this? Immortal Palace's inheritor roared towards the sky. The supreme being blood in Shahao's body became more and more resplendent. 2 types of innate symbols merged together, continuously transforming, becoming incomparably terrifying. With a casual move of his hand, a dong sound rang through the air. Half of Immortal Palace inheritor's body seemed to be blasted into mush, flying out again. Green Spirit Realm, a small world full of vitality. I am unwilling to accept this. Immortal Palace's inheritor took steps backwards. His body was aging and crumbling apart. Shahao's palm was too powerful, containing 2 types of supreme being techniques. Heaven's hand made his flesh split apart, while the reincarnation symbols made his body wither, decline and deteriorate. At first, everyone thought that he only had half his body blasted into tatters, but what happened afterwards made their fine hairs stand up one after another. Immortal Palace's inheritor was aging, and his flesh was splitting apart like chinaware, falling off piece by piece. Even his blood was black-colored, lacking luster. On the other side, Huang was calm and unhurried, his black hair hanging down to his waist, his eyes shining like divine rainbows. The supreme being symbols on his flesh swirled about. It was as if he was a demonic lord that had descended into this world, looking down on everyone here. Ah! Immortal Palace's inheritor roared. Half his body split apart, and his flesh was ruined to a completely deformed state, losing its vitality, 9 deaths undying. When the reincarnation symbols disappeared, he released a loud roar. Dark light erupted from his body, and an enormous pair of black wings appeared behind him that continuously moved about. Hong. The dark light covered the sun. Mysterious symbols spread outwards, surrounding him and quickly recombining his flesh. It really is a 9-headed undying bird with 9 lives. Shahao was shocked. He calmly watched without stopping this process. Immortal Palace's inheritor unexpectedly recovered, his flesh shining as if perfectly intact. The wings on his back moved, and black-colored feathers shot out like divine arrows. Shahao stood in his original location without dodging. He supported his only heavenly passage, forming a resplendent screen of light that protected him. Pu sounds continuously rang out. All of the black-colored plume feathers landed on the heavenly passage, these feathers even sharper than divine arrows, able to shoot down enormous mountains. However, at this moment, they broke apart inch by inch, unable to move forward. Outside the only heavenly passage, under Shahao's feet, broken arrows covered the ground, all of them surging with dark light and powerful divine force fluctuations. Plucking your own feathers, are you already prepared to be cooked? Shahao asked. Immortal Palace's inheritor seethed with anger. He released a loud roar. In the distance, the mountain ridges split apart one after another, collapsing one after another. One could well imagine how powerful he was. His main and second body merged, so he should have been unmatched in this world, yet who would have expected that he would be defeated a second time, moreover so miserably. Even if you have 9 lives, I will still kill you all the same. Shahao walked over. Right now, he had a conviction of being unmatched. With the revival of his supreme being blood, he became more powerful than ever before. Just die. Immortal Palace's inheritor was going mad. The immortal feather armor was put on, and then his entire body shone with brilliant luster. Large amounts of pure white feathers floated about in his surroundings. He ignited himself, extracting all of his body's potential, once again condensing bits of immortal Tao mist. They slowly released, forming a terrifying pressure. Shahao opened his martial Tao heavenly eye, carefully inspecting and analyzing it. He discovered that this mist indeed couldn't be compared to true immortal mist. The mysterious individual they saw in the vicious nest covered the world with a strand of energy, with the entire heavens seemingly shrouded, powerful and unmatched. If that is all you have left, then you can go on your way, Shahao said. He didn't want to waste any more time. When these words sounded, all sides became quiet. Everyone felt their minds being shaken. From the very start until now, heaven-overflowing waves stirred within their hearts, leaving them incomparably shaken. How stunning was Immortal Palace's inheritor! He was someone who was known as this generation's most powerful creature, someone who crushed the geniuses of 3,000 provinces until they couldn't breathe, yet today, he was defeated again, kill. Immortal Palace's inheritor rushed over, the immortal feather battle armor shining, sending out multicolored light and a rain of brilliance. All of the immortal Tao mist he cultivated seemed to have become more thick and solid. Still not a true immortal, you weren't able to take that step. Accept death. Shahao shouted loudly. He reached out his hand, covering heaven and earth, suppressing forward, the one who will die is you. Symbols interweaved in Immortal Palace inheritor's eyes. His heavenly eye widened, and his immortal feather battle armor broke apart, rushing towards all directions. The battle armor unexpectedly shattered, scattering in all directions. At the same time, a green light rushed into the heavens, spreading outwards like an ocean wave, engulfing in all directions. Shahao's direction was especially frightening. In the horizon, there were people who cried out miserably. After being swept through by the green light, their flesh withered away, their life force wiped out. Everyone quickly moved backwards out of great fear. What is this? A few people didn't immediately die, yet they still found it hard to defend against. They immediately became weak, powerless before it. Shahao's face immediately fell. He released a long roar, his head of black hair rising like dragons and snakes, dancing about. His eyes were as cold could be. His hand shone, and his palm produced symbols suppressing forward. Qingqiang sounds rang out. That green light was stopped by heaven's hand, displaying its true appearance. It was unexpectedly piece after piece of green copper rust, a heart-shaking green. This was Immortal Palace's curse. This type of copper rust was Immortal Palace's supreme treasure, something that came off of the bronze Immortal Palace, and refined through a secret method. Once it entered one's body, it was hard to remove, directly resulting in a painful death. Bronze Immortal Palace, this was known as one of the higher realm's greatest supreme treasures. When Shahao was in the lower realm, he almost died, because of a piece of green copper rust, losing his supreme being bone and being buried in the earth. He only revived after struggling for more than a year. Now that he saw this curse again today, how could he not be angry? Only, things were very different now. Shahao had already become a deity, and when facing Immortal Palace, he remained calm and unperturbed. He took action tyrannically. Green light covered the sky as they shot over, but they were all scattered by Shahao, unable to approach and enter his body. Immortal Palace's inheritor opened and closed his eyes. He chanted true sutras from his mouth, and his body had immortal light coiling about it. In addition, his hands were forming imprints, displaying the curse's fundamental power to support this attack, kill. He released a light shout. Endless green light condensed, and one piece was especially large, sharp like sword radiance. It was the size of a fist, flying towards Shahao. This was the curse after receiving the support of chants and magical imprints. It pierced through the void, the scene extremely intimidating. Shahao's only heavenly passage moved. That green copper rust pressed forward, approaching his body and almost pressing against his flesh. Shahao reached out 2 fingers, and then pressed the green copper rust between them. Is your performance finished? What other methods do you have left? You can display them all now. Shahao said, his voice calm. However, it was precisely these words that made Immortal Palace's inheritor stagger, his face pale. His body swayed intensely, as if he received a heavy blow. His confidence received a great blow. No one dared to say anything random. They all quietly watched everything. Everyone knew that something major was about to happen. Immortal Palace's inheritor had been defeated and was likely going to die. The supreme being blood in Shahao's body released a rumbling sound like ocean waves, rushing through his limbs and bones, making his vitality flourish to the peak. After an intense confrontation, a rain of blood splashed outwards. Immortal Palace's inheritor was killed once again, his ruined body flying outwards. If it was a normal person, they would have long had their body and Dao extinguished. However, his flesh became blurry, his body recombining, assembling together, unexpectedly reviving again, 9-headed bird, 9 lives undying body. Everyone was now sure that he had this type of ancient bloodline, and successfully activated it. This is fine as well. Killing you 9 times will properly allow you to understand the distance between life and death. Shahao said. As such, the supreme being blood shone again. His body was shrouded in auspicious energy, becoming greater in volume and more hazy, as if he was a matchless devil king. After repeated decisive battles, Immortal Palace's inheritors, blood dyed the green spirit realm. Even though he had revived several times, he was still a lamp that had ran out of fuel. Each revival required a great price to be paid. There was no way one would become undying just because of a single bloodline, reviving endlessly. Let's give you a taste of the curse itself. Shahao sent a piece of the green rust into his body. Immortal Palace's inheritor cried out miserably. His entire body released green light, his expression horrifying. All of the holy aura disappeared, becoming extremely sinister. In the end, he split apart again, his body dying. It seems like the 9 lives is only in theory, you have only 5 lives at most. Shahao said. When he fell for the final time, Immortal Palace's inheritor roared out angrily, doing everything he could to resist, but in the end, he was still powerless to reverse the situation, killed here, his corpse falling on the ground. This time, he wasn't able to revive, his body and Dao erased from here on forth. Green Spirit Realm was quiet. Everyone was trembling. The insufferably arrogant Immortal Palace inheritor, the one known to be one of the 3,000 provinces' most powerful young supreme beings, he was killed just like that. After remaining calm for a bit, everyone finally recovered. They immediately erupted with noise. This was definitely a great event that would shake up all of Immortal Ancient. It was as if a frantic storm was going to sweep through every small world. This was also the battle that drew the most attention since entering this ancient land. Immortal Palace's inheritor died, forcefully suppressed and killed. Huang won, eliminating the unmatched Immortal Palace inheritor. The Devil King is unmatched, the young supreme being of Immortal Palace not his match. This place was full of commotion, extremely noisy. Shahao wiped away the blood at the corner of his lips. This was from the injuries he received before the Supreme Being Blood's revival. What kind of race is this? Humanoid, but flowing with silver-colored blood. Shahao stared at that corpse. The blood, even though red, still had bits of silver light. Immortal Palace inheritor definitely had the 9-headed bird's bloodline, as well as another type of lineage, an extremely powerful humanoid creatures. Shahao put away this spoils of war, finding quite a few divine objects on Immortal Palace's body. The most important thing was that he found a jade container with a lump of gem-like blood. That was immortal blood. Suddenly, just when Shahao put away the immortal blood, a streak of glaring sword light shot out through the void, piercing towards the back of his head. It was exceptionally sharp. He shifted to a different position, fast to the extreme, his movements swift to an inconceivable degree, only leaving behind an afterimage. This was a divine sword dripping with blood, filled with killing intent, as if it had killed tens of millions of creatures before. It made one's fine hairs stand on end. However, immediately afterwards, the divine sword dripping with blood grew dim, entering the void. After missing, that person was going to escape. You from heavenly country. I didn't target you all, yet you all instead tried to deal with me. Shahao's eyes became cold. In his hand appeared the void halberd. He hacked open the void, and then he chased after that person. Immediately afterwards, this area of the void continuously collapsed. Sword light surged, and a great halberd shone. Great cracks appeared in space from time to time. A soft sound could be heard, and then blood splashed outwards. A head tumbled out from the void, landing on the ground, as well as a broken bleeding divine sword. Shahao walked over like a great demonic heavenly deity. In his hand was a great halberd, the shining blade sticky with blood, his might outstanding and beyond compare. There's more. Where do you think you're going? Shahao's divine senses were extremely sharp. The halberd in his hand hacked out towards a different direction. A figure appeared, frantically trying to escape into the distance. Suddenly, sword energy appeared boundlessly, carrying wisps of primal chaos. It was incomparably intimidating, stopping heavenly country's divine-level expert. A harmless-looking little fatty unexpectedly released chaotic sword energy. He was smiling bashfully over there. It was precisely Cao Yusheng. Murderer, stop running and go back. In addition, there was a little girl as well who looked like a porcelain doll. She had snow-white long hair and large red eyes. With a light shout, she stopped another heavenly country expert that was trying to escape. She was also someone familiar, the lunar jade hair, a snow-white little rabbit. Heavenly country's divine-level expert's face grew dim. There was no way to leave, because in the other direction was an exceptional beauty surrounded by green moonlight, currently moving in this direction. In reality, he knew that even if there was only Huang, if he chased after him, there was no way he could escape. Are you going to end your own life, or should I send you on your way? Shahao calmly said. Normally, who dared to offend heavenly country, who dared to look down on divine-level experts? However now, when he said these words, no one felt that it was surprising, because he was exuding an awe-inspiring might. Heavenly country's divine-level expert unexpectedly really did end his own life, his corpse falling down. It was extremely decisive. Shahao gave the little rabbit, Cao Yusheng, and Qingyi a look, and then gazed towards the Arctadic treasure house. He shouted, "Boss, is the golden-winged peng casserole done yet?" "It has already been finished." The Arctadic treasure house's boss trembled, his voice shaking as he hurriedly replied, "Then that's good. I have some guests to entertain, so think of some way to bring out a few more jars of holy wine." Shahao laughed loudly. While the great golden-winged peng was being stewed, he powerfully took action, killing Immortal Palace's inheritor, shaking all of Green Spirit Realm. "That's too great, we have great peng meat to eat and holy wine to drink. What a blessed feeling." The little fatty giggled, "But I don't eat meat." The little rabbit's ruby large eyes were spinning about, incredibly quick-witted as she muttered, "You are always fighting over food whenever you get drunk, to the point where you end up almost eating the most." Shahao exposed, "Nonsense, I don't eat meat." The little rabbit glared outwards with her large eyes, her feet swinging over. Shahao moved out of the way, but a great mountain in the distance directly collapsed. This was the well-known rabbit step. Shahao laughed loudly, walked over to stroke this little girl's head, completely messing up her snow-white shining hair. "I'm going to fight you to the death." The little rabbit screamed. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.